Welcome. The role of a high school librarian is largely misunderstood by faculty, administration, and students. As such, the true power of the librarian position is largely going untapped in high schools across the U.S. today. In order to remain relevant and to help the school environment, it has become necessary for high school librarians to become the unrecognized transformational leaders within their schools. This presentation will introduce you to various concepts related to the high school librarian as transformational leader, and was developed by Christy Mayfield and Jessica Rushing. In this presentation, I'm going to discuss the traditional role of the librarian, the evolution of that role into the librarian as media specialist, the financial crisis and how that impacted high school librarians' positions. I'll then transition into the discussion about how librarians as transformational leaders can help motivate teachers and solve the teacher dissatisfaction. When I'm discussing motivation, I'm going to use McClelland's needs theory. And the areas of focus for motivation will revolve around literacy, technology, and collaboration. First, let's discuss the traditional role of the high school librarian. From the 19th century onward, the high school librarian was seen as the person in the school who handled materials. They selected, cataloged, and preserved the materials, but was largely not seen as a teacher or as a leader. With the advent of computers in the 21st century, as well as the development of the internet, the librarian became a media specialist in high schools all across the U.S. Now standards began to shift where librarians were to promote and maintain 21st century literacies amongst the school population, as well as helping the teachers promote these 21st century literacies. Through this endeavor, high school librarians were now in charge of not only maintaining, but learning how to use and train others how to use computers, search databases, use the internet or Wi-Fi, as well as using OCLC to find their library needs. In the 21st century, though, roughly around 2008, the financial crisis had a large impact on high school libraries across the world. School districts began to have drastic cuts in their budgets, which resulted in cuts in library positions as well as other non-teaching positions. Furthermore, the librarians that were left had to reduce their programs in order to make up for the financial cuts. As a result of the financial crisis and the budget cuts, as well as the library position cuts and program cuts, many of the remaining librarians in high school libraries had an increase in duties. Now, each of the individual school librarians oftentimes took on the roles, job responsibilities, and duties of 2 to 3 librarians, depending upon the school population. The administration, which is the principals and assistant principals in any school, often underestimates the potential effectiveness of the librarian and how the librarian can in fact be a potential leader within the school. Rather, many of the duties that administration assign librarians on top of their already librarian duties is seen as clerical duties, which could really be done by anyone. As a result of this, while 70% of school librarians in 2013 reported that they were very satisfied with their jobs, Some of the top sources of job dissatisfaction for librarians with the lack of respect and recognition from not only administrators, but other faculty and students, lack of funding, an increased workload, performing so many non-library related tasks, low salary and problems with management administration, as well as some librarians reported trouble in managing multiple locations. Despite this job dissatisfaction, many librarians continue to have to prove their vitalness inside of the high school. And one way that each of the librarians can take an integral role inside their school is to become a transformational leader. So the thesis or the major claim of this presentation is that high school librarians have a unique opportunity to influence and motivate the most important asset of the educational organization, which is the teachers. Many teachers, and this is no secret, many teachers have low motivation, and the teaching profession is one of the many professions that have such a high attrition rate. This is largely due to a variety of indicators. Some teachers are upset because they do not have the administration support. They don't have the resources that they need. They don't have the collegiate environment that they would like to have, and as well as relationship with their colleagues. They have a lack of parental support, and these are just a few of the reasons why so many teachers have low motivation. Well, that's a major problem, because if the teachers have low motivation and if there's a high attrition rate amongst teachers, well, student achievement will in fact suffer, and it won't be what it could be if we were able to fix this major problem amongst the teachers. As the librarian, you have now the unique position where you can help be transformative and help encourage this transformation in the educational landscape. So first, before we talk about that and how they can go about that, let's talk about what are transformational leaders. So transformational leaders are a little bit different than transactional leaders. So transactional leaders are very basic, and every school has transactional leaders. It's just based off of a transaction of interactions. I do this to get this, and that's either a reward or a punishment. But that does nothing to inspire greatness in schools, and it does nothing for motivation of teachers who are already overworked and underpaid and are dissatisfied with their environment. So a transformational leader is different in that they inspire, they create a team spirit amongst the faculty, they identify high goals for achievement. They motivate their followers not only to just be innovative, but to be analytical and to be creative. They act as a coach for the faculty. They take into consideration the desires and needs of each of the followers. And ultimately, they help teachers be successful instead of demanding success. So what is the key denominator in being a transformational leader? Well, the key denominator is motivation. And so to understand motivation, Christy and I discerned that we were going to look at McClelland's need theory. And this is a theory based on the fact that teachers need for achievement, they need power, and they need affiliation. And what we discern is that teachers can fulfill these needs that they have through, librarians can fulfill the needs of teachers by focusing on 3 areas. The first area is literacy. technology, and then collaboration. So the librarian as a transformational leader has a unique position. They oftentimes get to interact with the teachers more often than the administration does. And to be a transformational leader, the librarian can do a couple of things to promote literacy. One, the most basic, they can provide resources for the teacher. I can't tell you how many times as a teacher I lacked the appropriate resources. And so by finding out what the teachers need and providing it for them, that can help motivate the teachers to stretch their goals in the classroom. Furthermore, the school librarian can provide novel approaches for how to teach literacy within the classroom. School librarians are often master teachers. They're jacks of all trade, and so they can help provide techniques for teaching different approaches towards literacy to the maybe science teacher or math teacher who are not too keen on how to teach literacy within their classrooms. This is especially helpful with the current push for Common Core. Last, to promote literacy, the librarian as transformational leader can highlight the best practices of its current teachers. This will help the teachers achieve their need for power. As well, it will help be a coach to promote those best practices within the school. The next area of focus is technology. The librarian as a transformational leader, the job is to help provide not only just guidance on what kind of new technologies are out there and how to use those technologies, but provide the resources for the teachers to use technology within their classrooms. And of course, the last important way that a librarian can be a transformational leader is to support innovation when you see it. This can be done through highlighting different technologies or different ways in which teachers provide technology instruction inside of their classroom. The last area of focus that we're going to discuss today is collaboration. The school librarian as a transformational leader, again, can provide quality professional development for the staff. In all of the research that we conducted, most often administration did not see this as a important role of the high school librarian, but I can't tell you how often teachers appreciate more professional development from someone who really knows what it's like to be in the classroom, to interact with the kids on a daily basis, as well as someone who knows the curriculum. And as a master teacher, the school librarian should be aware of the current curriculum to help those teachers develop those high goals through collaboration and working together. Not only can the librarians promote collaboration amongst teachers by connecting them with other teachers who are doing things that are connected and ideas and interweave projects together, but the school librarian can collaborate with its teachers on and learn and promote high goals. Another way that the teacher librarian can be a transformational leader is to provide new collaborative environments. Of course, teaching, there's a lot of demands in this day and age, and so sometimes it's hard to fit in another meeting. So the transformational leader librarian can provide online collaborative environments that might promote collaboration off campus for teachers on their own time. And the last component of collaboration, and the most important, is that the teacher librarian should foster team spirit and coach individuals to be the best that they can be. Thank you for following this presentation.